Okay, welcome back to another episode of AI for Real, the podcast where we interview the guests of the Lisbon AI conference. Today we have Doha, our co-host, and which is helping organizing this conference for you. And we also have Angelo from ElevenLabs. He's a growth engineer, and we will talking about this before starting the conversation. Angelo, what's your role? Like, if you had to describe what you do at ElevenLabs, how would you do it?
Yeah, so as a growth engineer, like I work on the conversational AI platform we have. So conversational AI is like 11 labs we have text to speech and we have speech to text. And if you put those two things together, you have like a technology where you can talk to it and it talks back to you. Kind of like Siri, but a bit more customizable.
But better.
And so like on the growth engineering side, it's like making sure people can use it where they want to use it. So like building SDKs and that kind of thing across different
Mhm.
platforms. Um, like building out like new product features. So less like core infrastructure, but more product engineering. And then also like some stuff to do with our go-to-market motion on the growth side.
Okay. How much AI do you use like on a daily basis?
I'm probably the
And
one that
and, and
uses it the
how and
most.
how?
I mean, I'm a massive Claude Code fan. So I have it like I think it probably like now I've got it in a good place where I have like custom instructions set up for like everything I want it to do for me. So it writes like all the articles I write, it writes all the documentation, it writes all the code for me. I'm trying to just like I have like the $200 a month plan, and I'm trying to max it out as
Okay.
much as possible. So yeah,
And
it's pretty
do
nice.
you usually reach the limit? Because I'm always reaching the limit. So Anthropic or someone from Anthropic, if you're watching this, please raise those limits.
I do know one person. He's not on our team. But I know one friend who's like changed his sleep schedule to max out the limit because it resets every 4 hours. I'm not quite that bad, but I do hit the limit quite often.
But how do you use it? Like for prototyping, I guess some work that you don't want to do.
Sometimes like even it's just like I see a message in Discord saying like something's not quite right, and I'll just copy and paste the message, tell it roughly what I think it should do, and it will just one shot get it correct. Um, Documentation as well. Anytime we ship a new feature, I'll just tell it like, okay, here's the PR, here's all the content, here's what I think you should make it look like, and it does a pretty good job. At this point, like I just kind of use Claude Code to try and do as much work as I can, and then I'll just like try and review it a bit.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think it just makes being an IC a lot more fun experience because you can do just a lot more.
Hmm. But do you trust it like blindly?
I mean, I think 11 Labs obviously has got to a scale where we can't trust it blindly. Like you have to like do a lot of tests. I mean, if we ship some code, it's going to go to like 100 million users at this point.
Hmm.
So it can't just like, yeah, you can't just trust it blindly, especially for our scale. On my side projects for sure, I trust it blindly. Yeah.
What other side projects do you have besides ElevenLabs?
No, I mean not serious side projects. Just always hacking around on top of our like agents platform, just trying to like
Okay.
build fun projects, and there I'll just let it go wild.
Hmm. Okay, okay. But you didn't start your career working with AI, or at least working at ElevenLabs. You started, I think, at JP Morgan. Is this right?
I did an internship at JP Morgan. I would
Okay.
say there I
And what?
actually got in trouble because I was using ChatGPT, not like work. Yeah, they would discipline you for that kind of thing. Um,
How they're doing now, like with the fact that they were disciplining people back then. I guess they're scrambling probably to implement things now, right?
I mean, I think JP Morgan's like actually the team I was in was very cool. I think like
Mm.
they just had their hands tied. Like when the company itself says,
Mm.
like from the top down, you can't use this stuff, even if you have like a really cool team.
Mhm.
It kind of shows that maybe the company's not pointing in the right direction, right? Um, so
And why
yeah,
do you think? Why do you think they have that policy?
I mean, I guess yeah, it's like a financial regulations. You can't have customer data leaking.
Hmm.
The thing for us was we were working on like some like core backend stuff that was maybe like 3 steps removed from an actual customer. and only being used by internal teams. So like 0% risk of anything bad happen if we shared the code with ChatGPT even, which even back then was, like this was 3.5, and like pretty bad at writing code, but still somehow helpful. But even that was banned straight away. So you'd have to do funny things like going on your phone and like turning mobile data on and just doing it like that. Yeah.
What made you move from like the finance industry to tech?
Yeah, I mean, I would never really say I was in finance. It was just like a internship I had to do for my degree. It was like a nice team, but even that was like a very technical, like functional programming team, building like some data modeling product. So it's like very much not even like touching finance at all what we were doing. And it was just building like an internal tool for the developers at JP Morgan. So yeah, so I don't really think I was ever in finance, thankfully. But I when I was at Zurich at ETH, I just started like immersing myself a bit more in the like AI side. I think Zurich has like a surprisingly strong startup scene. And from there, just really like I did a startup for my thesis, went to San Francisco for a bit, and then basically was trying to build conversational agents, and then found ElevenLabs, did a hackathon, and then have been here ever since.
Okay. What was the startup that you built in Zurich?
In Zurich, so I've always been really interested in like using AI to find startups to like invest in. So like at various points I've been interested in venture capital and like using AI to do the sourcing of startups. So
like
built...
like a VC analyst, but
yeah.
which is an AI agent. Okay.
Yeah, so like one of my favorite startups is Exa. I think they've done an amazing job. And like they're just like a way of searching the internet with LLMs. And basically the thesis was you can just like search once a week for like startups that are emerging in a specific thesis, in a specific location, at a specific stage in their development. And if you just like run that once a week and generate like reports based on it, that can be useful for a VC. Turns out like building AI for VCs is like not a good space to be in. I found that out the hard way after 6 months.
Why is that?
I feel like VCs, one, they're very technically savvy, so they know like what they can get and what to expect. Whereas if you're doing maybe B2B to some like small and medium business, they're not really sure like what the cutting edge is. The best VCs, they can just hire 10 people from Google, because they have enough money to do that. So why would they buy your thing? And then the second somebody buys your thing, then the next person you try to sell it to will be like, well, we don't really get an edge with this because VC XYZ already has this. So I don't think it's a good market to be in. Yeah, but it was very fun and I got to learn a lot.
Okay. Let's go back to the ElevenLabs. So ElevenLabs builds like agents, but more than that, or at least at the base of those agents, you have speech to text and text to speech APIs and technology and models, which are built by ElevenLabs. And somewhere in your personal blog, you have something like in 20 or 30 years, we can reach a world of abundance.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned something like conversational AI will be a part of that. Why do you think conversational AI specifically will be a part of that world of abundance? And how do you see that world in 20 or 30 years?
I don't think anyone knows, but I think like voice is like a natural way for us to communicate, right? Like, I wouldn't want to be talking to you guys over a chatbot right now. And like, so ChatGPT is just like, it clearly isn't like, this chat modality clearly isn't the right one. People don't want to listen to podcasts like you it's a very different modality. It's like, I don't know, reading a book, right? Like you want some things in some ways and some things in other ways. I think the right way to like upload information to like these systems is voice. Like I want to say it really quickly and have it start executing it. I don't want to have to like write out on my keyboard stuff because you can speak basically as fast as you think. So in the future, I think the future is headed towards like these asynchronous agents that do long running tasks for you. And the quickest way to update them is just going to be by voice, by just telling it like, actually, you're doing something wrong. Do it like this instead. And hopefully that means like, like you can work from anywhere, like just with a asynchronous agent doing stuff for you, and you just give it a voice message anytime you want to update it. I think that'd be a really cool feature. And then, people can potentially work less, just review work. I think when you're reviewing stuff, you don't want that to be by voice because it's not the quickest way of ingesting information. But I think anytime you want to give feedback to these like autonomous / asynchronous systems, like voice is just the easiest way to do it. And then you'd probably want the one with the best transcription or whatever, and then you'll probably want ElevenLabs.
That's actually super interesting because I work at Rose, which is a company that's building a newer spreadsheet, like a better one, an alternative to Excel. And I get a question that is, do you think that spreadsheets will die with AI being smarter and getting to do like even more complex analysis, and you just upload the CSV and pumps out a dashboard or something? And I guess from my point of view, I think I like that perspective of multimodality. So probably you want to be able to instruct via voice or chat, but like a grid with numbers is still a good UI to inspect data, and it's probably better than having an agent dictating everything to you. Like in cell A1, you have that value.
100%. The other thing is like a coding agent, for example. Like I think it's like we have some internal demos where like you can talk to the agent and say like, make this button here red, right? But like, so that's easy to upload by voice, but like how do you download that by voice, let's say? Like how do you get the agent to say like, oh yeah, this div, like add some CSS here, and like there's just no way of thinking about it. Like a finance analyst is never going to want the agent to read out the spreadsheet row by row. So like for sure, I'm not like a voice maximalist that says like everything has to be voice. But like I think voice has to be a part of everything.
Okay. That we've seen like this trend of voice maximalism or some kind of that with the Humane AI pin and the Rabbits R2, those like AI companions where it's constantly listening to whatever you are saying. How do you fit like these devices in a future where conversational AI is like super good?
I think it's a good question. I think it's like something I've been thinking about a lot. I think if you think about like how much a conversational agent would have cost like a year ago, it would have been way higher than it is now. And if that trend continues, I don't think it would be too expensive, like from a financial point of view, just to have this like conversational agent always listening to you. I don't think that's necessarily desirable, but like it could cost like, I don't know, eventually, and maybe next year it would cost like $10 for the whole day for you to have this thing like always listening and like giving you feedback. Well, I think like you're looking at like 8 cents per minute at the moment, and if the current like cost curves continue, it's like I think Gemini decreased by price like 30x this year. If it keeps decreasing 30x, who knows? Yeah, and I don't think we'll get there, but for sure, like I think the costs are just going to keep decreasing. So I think it's very plausible. I don't think ElevenLabs will become a hardware startup, but I think we're going to enable a lot of these things.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully.
You touched briefly on something like before this question, which was podcasts. And I think one of the main use cases for ElevenLabs is probably creating audio content for media consumption, like videos or podcasts or whatever. Do you think people would want to listen to AI generated podcasts. Like we have Notebook LM from Google, but I see more people using it as a way of like studying or learning something new rather than entertainment, because they know that it was AI generated. Maybe that's the trick.
I mean, I think we're getting to a point where you maybe couldn't tell whether something was AI generated or not. And maybe rather like the opposite is more true. Like you can tell. Like, so for example, I went back to Italy like a week ago and I was watching like the film on the state broadcaster. And we always have American films. Like we have like national crime investigation or naval crime investigation films. And it's like one guy saying every single line, whether or not the character on the screen is like male or female. And it's just like the worst experience ever.
Wow.
So like there you can clearly tell, okay, they've hired one person to do a really bad job of dubbing this film. And now I'm having to sit through this for an hour and a half. If that was AI, you wouldn't notice it at all. Because each character would have their own voice for the ElevenLabs or whatever, and it would sound like the film had been filmed like that. So I think, and it'll be the same when you like when you call a customer support center, and they say like, oh, it's going to take 45 minutes to talk to somebody because we only have 10 people. You're definitely going to notice that. But when you talk to an AI agent that speaks like a natural human, I think increasingly like people just aren't noticing, and even if they do, they don't really care because they're just getting it immediately resolved. So I think it's maybe like people will just stop noticing. People will just start noticing when it's a human more than they realize it's an AI.
Okay. I invite like people that are watching right now to test the 11 V3 model at the ElevenLabs website. It's amazing. It's like it laughs. It does. It thinks. It's supernatural. It's frightening almost.
I think the most frightening thing for me also is like that was the research preview that the research team came up with, and it's like I wonder what the non-preview version will look like. Yeah, it's like it's got some really incredible like emergent capabilities as well. Like it just naturally does sound effects really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely check it out if you haven't already.
I have like two more topics that I want to discuss. The first one is that actually three. The first one is you've recently launched. I think it was today or yesterday, or like in a few days. The 11 V3 API, but more important for this question was the music API. I don't know what's the naming of that, but
it's just
the
11
API,
music.
11 music. Okay, and the samples were really amazing from the demo that you guys shared. Is the technology behind creating or generating voice the same as the one behind generating songs? Because in songs you have to generate like rhythm, melody, lyrics, voice for the singers. It seems like a more complex task, even though it's like less diverse inside of a song. So a song, it's like more it's less diverse than a reading or someone saying a sentence or reading a text.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know too much about the architecture of the musical model. What I think I can say is like at ElevenLabs, like we want to train like the best models for audio, and like that requires a certain scale. And I think like you've seen it across the industry where as you scale up the size of the model and the kind of compute you're expending on the model and the like data quality you're pushing in there, you get like a whole bunch of other capabilities. So as we scaled like V3 to be more emotional, you can take like some parts of V3, use the same kind of data mix, add in like the music data that we like legally, and this is like a really cool thing. It's like completely copyrighted, like copyright agreements to use that data. You can mix more of that data in with the same architecture, I believe, and then out of it you get a model that's just fantastic at music. Maybe eventually like those two models start merging where you just have one model that just does all audio. But basically you can use the same kind of mix and training pipeline.
Okay, have you listened to the songs, Doha? You should. It's super cool because in the demo they have like some different genres and they have some samples and they sound amazing. I suppose you guys selected the best ones, but even though it sounds super cool. So you guys now have an API to generate songs, and if I generate a song that sounds just like a Taylor Swift song or some other artist, is there any copyright infringement there? Like,
Yeah, I
who
mean,
has the rights of the song that I've created?
yeah. So the way the model was trained was we signed a collaboration with Merlin, who are like a music label, and there was one other whose name I can't quite remember. Um, to get the rights to that music and compensate their artists
Mm-hmm.
appropriately for that. And in that way, when we train the model, any data produced by it is like copyright compliant. It won't be infringing the rights of the artists whose music they've agreed to share with us. And then the music you generate is like fair use. You can use it for whatever you want. I think there's like some conditions for enterprises when they use it, but generally it's just fair use.
Okay. Okay. And what about voice? Because I actually cloned my voice. I host a podcast in Portuguese, and I wanted to try your voice cloner. And I used like the most powerful one. I don't know if it's like you have one that requires at least 30 minutes or 1 hour of audio, and then you have
Mm.
another one that requires some seconds of audio. Uh, and it sounded like you could notice that it was AI, but it sounded just like me, and it was kind of cool, kind of frightening. But how do you guys protect people from like deep fakes and people trying to impersonate others? Because we live in a world where AI generated content is increasing.
For sure, we have like a pretty large safety team here. So the safety team are continuously trying to make sure we detect voices that are trying to imitate other people. There's also like a capture mechanism so that when you try and create a voice for someone, you have to like prove that that is your own voice by doing like
Yeah.
some automated verification. So you can kind of think of that as like making a live sample of your voice and then making sure that that matches with the one that you're trying to train for. Um, and then yeah, the other thing is like especially also when people are using agents, like there's always the risk of like someone using somebody else's voice to blackmail somebody, or even just using any voice on our platform to blackmail. So there's like automated testing of whether what the agent is trying to do is something that's like acceptable, whether they're just like doing customer support or education, or they're actually like maybe trying to put pressure on somebody to do something, trying to get credit card details. They're pretty like standard industry checks you can do to make sure that the agent's being moderated correctly.
Okay. The last topic that I want to talk about actually touches on this one, which is open source APIs or open source models. I think you guys don't have any open source or open weights models. What's your position on that? Because from on the one hand, I see a lot of like useful use cases that are not possible because the economics, at least for now, if I have to use an API, like it hinders the development of something that I want, some product that I want to build. But on the other hand, you guys have a safety team, and if you open source a model, then I could clone my voice, or you could clone my voice and try to impersonate me for some reason, because like the model is open, so you can do whatever you want. Like, what's your position here? What's ElevenLabs' position here? Are you guys planning on releasing an open source or open weights model? Now we had OpenAI releasing one like this month or last month.
I think at the moment, like I think it would not make sense for us at the moment to do like an open weights model.
Mm-hmm.
I think generally like something we see a bit as like people release open weights when they're just not as good, basically. So at the moment, our models are the best. So we don't need to like try and cling on to the fact that like, oh, we're open source, so you should use us. We can just say we have the best ones by far. We do use open source models like quite a bit internally, to be honest. Not for the actual voice side, but like in our agents platform, we get a lot of benefit from, allowing the agent to use open source models, which we can self-host and run much faster. And I'm quite bullish on the fact that, it seems like China wants to have open source models and make them a commodity. For us, like that really benefits us because then we can self-host the LLM that's doing the reasoning for the agent and co-locate the speech to text and text to speech and just make that all a lot faster, to really like drive down the latency as low as possible. So we definitely benefit a lot from open source. I think there's like one reason for doing open source is like national security risks, and I think you get that a lot less with audio because at the end of the day, the actual output that the agent is speaking is from a LLM, which is like doing most of the important reasoning, I'd say. So like, yeah, for now, no plans. But I guess that can always change. And we'll see. Like, I think ElevenLabs is going to try and expand into other modalities, and maybe there we do something a bit different in terms of strategy. Yeah, we'll have to see.
But do you guys see open source audio models like a threat to your business? Because I imagine a world where like it's a matter of time until a fairly good open source audio model comes out. By then, would you guys still rely on quality and having like the best model with the best accents and whatever? Or do you guys think that this is temporary and you have to move somewhere else?
I think at the moment we're still like 6 months to a year ahead of the competition in like the different verticals we have. So whilst that continues, and we still haven't reached like 100% human level. Whilst that continues, I think we'll remain ahead of the competition. There's always like the tiny chance like tomorrow China comes out with a text-to-speech model, which is open source and as good, and you can run it yourself. But I think like one of the points you mentioned is like if it was open, I could run it like wherever I wanted. At the end of the day, like with voice, you need it to run at like really low latency. You need it to run like reliably. You notice it a lot more if you're like talking to an agent and then they just like stop talking, and like that is like a lot of maybe when you're talking to ChatGPT and it like buffers a bit, you like you'd care about that less. But with voice, it's like at this point, it's even just like such a big architecture challenge that if we open sourced, I think we'd still have a very valuable business because most companies won't want to have to like architect that like super hardcore low latency pipeline of doing all these models at the same time with 10,000 active connections at any one time. I think open source is like a small part of it, which we would still have a valuable business with.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that you mentioned the agents a lot, so you probably envision a future where models will be cheap and the agents, like the architecture of combining the models, and will be
I work on the agent
sauce,
platform
secret
here,
sauce.
so I'm always thinking about that. But even if you were not using our agents platform and just using our text-to-speech API, say for example when we had Epic built like they had Darth Vader inside of Fortnite, and you could like just talk to Darth Vader. That wasn't our agents platform, that was just our API. But even then, like you have, I don't know, like something like 1 million concurrent connections trying to do like this generation on your GPUs. Even if the model's open source, like this is not a weekend project. This is like 3 years of like engineering. But yeah, so I think they could open source that model and it would still be very valuable.
Okay. Final question. Do you have anything you want to ask Angelo before we end this?
I think all good on my side. I think that was really interesting.
Okay. Angelo, in 5 years, like what's something that doesn't exist today that you think will exist in the future related to AI, of course, and that will, I don't know, help you or your family or the humanity?
It's a really good question. On like the like voice side, like I think every business will have like some kind of voice offer that you can like call them and like immediately get like amazing customer service. Like that's just going to be the default for every single business. I think yeah, I think like just the ability for every business to like talk immediately to other businesses, I think is actually like also underrated. Everyone can like immediately sell to every country in the world. Your podcast, Alvaro, might become super famous in Malaysia. Like, who knows? Yeah, so I think the world's just going to get more global. Like, it will just get more, uh, yeah, more global with AI. Like being able to translate into every language, being able to be consumed everywhere, sell everywhere, give support everywhere. Hopefully, that will like really amplify the impact of like the most impactful people.
Okay, super cool. Yeah, I love speech to speech. I think that's super, like that's where you feel the magic of the technology.
I think that's going to come pretty soon. I think like I think the moment that you can just like say, here's my film in English, make it in Chinese. Like I don't think that's super far away at this point.
Yeah, with your last model, it's I can imagine that. Okay, our time is up. Thank you for watching. We have our tickets for the Lisbon AI conference at our website, lisbonai.xyz. It's probably appearing somewhere here in the screen. And Angelo, we'll see you in Lisbon in November.
Awesome, super excited.
See you.
See you then.
Bye.